Sega.
Hello everyone, today we'll be unboxing another figurine for the week. Here we have is an articulated figure from the manufacturer Medicom Toy. A figurine part of their Real Action Heroes line is a 1/6 scale articulated figure of the character Hatsune Miku, based on her appearance in the game Hatsune Miku Project DIVA or Hatsune Miku Project DIVA. As always, before we take the figurine out of its packaging, just in case you didn't know, Hatsune Miku, or codename CV01, is commonly known as a VOCALOID, a voice bank software released in 2007, developed and published by Crypton Future Media. Using Yamaha Corporation's VOCALOID synthesizing tech and Crypton Future Media's PIA Pro Studio, Miku was the second Vocaloid sold using the Vocaloid 2 engine. The character is voiced by Japanese voice actress Saki Fujita. While Hatsune Miku having various of different media, this figure is based on the Hatsune Miku Project DIVA. That's a rhythm game released in 2009, developed by Crypton Future Media, while published by Sega Corporation for the PSP. Or PlayStation Portable. Then Sega and Crypton Media made Hatsune Miku Project DIVA F in 2012, originally released on PS Vita in Japan, then later in 2013 in PS3. The difference with a capital F in DIVA F and a lowercase in the PS Vita. So as you can see here, this is the Medicom Toy Real Action Heroes Hatsune Miku's box, rotating in 360, originally released in 2014. So this is a used figure, so there might be a bit of scuffs and damages, but it's to be expected. So let's take Hatsune Miku out of her packaging and see how the figurine looks. So just like every other Medicom Real Action Heroes figurine, there is an opening here as a window where you can actually see there's a little bit of promo art of the figurine, and on the other end you do get is the figurine in its package state. So if you decide not to take the figurine out of its box, you can kind of display it like this in its, in its box on a shelf. But for video purposes, we are going to take the figurine out. So let's just continue on taking the figurine out. So here we have is Hatsune Miku straight out of her packaging. As you can see here, she's a little bit dusty, but like I said, this is a used copy. We do get his accessories with hands, piano, and a swappable face. So let's just see this up close. So just like other Medicom Real Action Heroes, or maybe the ones that I've gotten, we do get is a posted card where you can actually send info and maybe feedback to the company. But we are located in the States, so I don't think I can fill this out and send it to them. I mean, maybe I could, I don't know. I mean, I never tried it, but you could do that, and if you've gotten this. And here we have is another sheet of paper you do get, which is or should I say, a step-by-step of information, or like an assembly instructions guide. As you can see here, where you can able to swap her face, and you can also place the piano onto the stand. It does come with a little clip there, and it is in both in Japanese and in English. But if you don't speak either or, I think following the instructions guide is still a bit simplistic, so it should be easy to do so. So as you can see here, we got is 1 through 8 steps. We also get is a phone number here on the side to call the support, but I would believe that's maybe only in Japanese, so I do advise to, if you don't know Japanese, you could call that. I don't even know if this service is still up, but if it is, there you go. So there's not really much else to do with this, so we'll just move on. So as you can see here, this is the base and a claw hand, so it is used. As you can see here, it is actually quite scratched up, so it's kind of expected to be, with an acrylic base. And this kind of like a flexible posable arm here where you do hold up Miku in is I do own one of these. I think I prefer this one over the other stand that Medicom does give you, which is just like a stick upward with a claw. This one here is actually a lot better because you can pose it and have it a little bit more different types of variety of poses you can put the figurine compared to the other stand they give you. But besides that, it's just a clear plastic or acrylic. Nothing really too much to show you with this. So here we have his Hatsune Miku, the actual figurine. So as you can see here at the bottom, it does have his Sega or a couple other information of the figurine. But besides that, you can see is a blue turquoise color on her bottom of her shoe. And here, instead of having a fox leather over her boots, is actually just a plastic, a black plastic. And as I stated before, it is articulated, as you can see here. The legs are posable, but moving it around, it does feel a little bit flimsy. Again, it could be because it's used, so that could be why it's a little bit more flimsy and more easier to pose around rather than stiff. So I feel like the feet can kind of like fall if you stand it up. Here on the side, you do get his pattern of her boots. As you can see here, you do bend the knees upwards, but I think they're only motioned back, so you can't pull it forward, which makes sense. So as you can see here, it's quite detailed. It has a little bit of little details to her leggings there as well. I noticed also here at the bottom, she does come with underwear, and she does have a little turquoise bow tie, which is pretty cute, but we'll move on from there. I don't want to really be staring down there too long. But here we have is the back here, which I noticed that since it was in there, it kind of creased the top of her shirt here, which, yeah, I don't know if I can straighten that, so I'm gonna try to ignore that. But besides that, the skirt, you can kind of see we do have is the little tech pattern here with the lighting, and we do get a bit of keyboard on her arm sleeve, and it looks quite detailed actually. As you can see here, the fabric here they use for her skirt edge, it actually, I think they should have used that more for her shirt as well. As you can see here, her leg also poses from side to side. I'm gonna try not to pose it too much, because knowing Medicom reaction here, they tend to get a little bit, you know, loose. Here's a closer shot of her skirt as well. As you can see here, I noticed the frills here on her shirt is made out of that fake leather material, so I can kind of see the frills here deteriorate in time. So if you do get this figurine, be careful with the frills. Try not to keep it in too much of a warm environment. You can see here is her tie is actually knitted onto her jacket, so you can't flick the tie around. But the materials actually looks really great. As you can see here on the side here, we do get is a closed hand, which is one of the options you do get. Or you can see her nails are also painted blue, or is it turquoise? I mean, I've been saying that, but is it blue or is it turquoise? You can see her hands are also articulated, where you can move it up and down and position it in different positions if you wanted to. And you can see you can move it forward. The material also bends with it. But as you saw from the shirt behind, try not to bend it too much, because it could kind of get stuck like that. That you can kind of see it goes up and down. You can put her in a little pose like that. You can kind of see she has her tattoo here as number 1, because she is the first Vocaloid, if I believe, as the representative of all the other Vocaloids. Not the original, but like the first mascot, you can kind of say. Place it down here, but do be careful with the ball joints, because as I stated before, Medicoms tend to be a little bit more fragile. Here we have is her side arm, where you kind of see is her little, I think that's supposed to be a keyboard pattern here on both her arm sleeves. And here's a close-up shot of her face, and you can kind of see it's quite cute actually, a little smiley expression. I think they did a lot of great work on the eyes. Here's her little headset here on the side with the little mic. I'd say be careful with that, because I feel like you could snap that if you flick it too much. But besides, I also watch out with the tips of her hair on the side here with the little hair lick on the side there. I feel that you can kind of snap that as well, so be careful. And here we do get his 2 long twin tails from the back here, and they're sculpted so it's not actually flexible, but they did put a little bit of detail in the inside of it. And I did notice that the paint did rub on my glove here, so this is another reason why I wear the gloves, and another proof that how my gloves get dirty. So remember to always handle these and wash your hands thoroughly after handling your figure. But as you can see here, the sculpt of the hair is actually quite nice and in detail. From the top to the bottom, they did give us a long line representing the hair. But because they're so large, it's a little bit difficult to move the figurines a little bit too around, because this thing is hitting my arm every second. Here's the back of the head, as you can see here, detailed as well. You can see lines, and besides that, I'm a little bit disappointed with this section here. I gotta see how I'm gonna flatten this side, but so it's going to be you're obviously going to have a little bit of damage on the product, but it's actually really great. I really like the way this figure is, and I kind of like the way the boots are more of a plastic material rather than a fox leather. I feel like that's preferred because it's not going to be damaged. Besides that, let's just move on to the more accessories that it comes with. So this is her other swappable face, as you can see here. It is just a neutral, expression. Honestly, this is really cute as well. I don't know, it's just something about the face that is pretty cute. As you can see here on the back, you can see where we actually place it onto the figurine. It does come with 3 little pegs. And yeah, it's just a neutral face. You can kind of see his ears on the side. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this is actually a really cute looking face. So let's just swap it out with her face, or other face. So this is the other face sculpt, and you can see here, this is how they look side by side. They're both pretty cute as well, so. So here are the swappable hands you do get. You get is an open palm hand, where you have a set of 2, which for both left and right hand. As you can see here, the nails are also painted blue or turquoise. As you can see here, we got a little bit of jazz hand look. So you do get also is a pointing hand for the both left and right. As you can see here, same thing with the other hands. It has painted fingernails with a turquoise, bluish type paint, and I kind of really like this pointing hand. Why? Because you can kind of hit her with the pose as like Kenshiro when they're pointing. Omae wa mou utateiru. No? Okay, I'll stop. So here we have is the piano stand. As you can see here, not really much to show you. It's just plain black, but it's actually quite detailed. It looks realistic. Well, if you ever gotten a piano, you do get is a stand like this, and here on the side here, just like the assembly instructions guide, you could put the little pin, a little black pin that it does come with you, where you do connect it. So you just gotta align this little section here, and you connect it from there, and it keeps the stand from moving or opening up when you have it displayed. But yeah, there's also a little accessory pin that you do get for the piano stand. As you can see here, it goes all the way up, and you do get this little rigid area here where you do place the piano on. It actually keeps the piano still. So besides that, it's somewhat large, not really much to show you, so let's just move on to the next part, or let's just move on to the piano. So here we have is the piano, and I gotta say this is actually quite detailed. As you can see here at the bottom, since it's a used copy, we are gonna get a little bit of almost looks like smudges on it. Here we have is the bottom, which where I think this is where you connect the headset, I believe. I mean, I used to own a piano, but I don't remember too much. You can see it's Yamaha DX7, and it does have small text there, which is actually quite detailed. The piano, no, it doesn't actually click, but as you can see here, it does have numbers on the little blue section there, and as I stated, the piano doesn't click, so you can't click each keyboard. But as I said, it's quite detailed. You can kind of see this little a display here on the top section here. We do get is a little switch here on the top and other stuff. It does have a line at the bottom, but I don't think you can pop this open. I think it's just there just to represent a piano. You can kind of see on the top is other connections. So it actually is quite dusty, as you can see. I did try to dust it the best I can, but I think the dust still stays there, so I'm gonna have to use something else to take all the dust off. As you can see, here's the bottom, and not really too much, just a little bit of sections there, almost look like screws. But besides that, it's actually a really detailed piano. So let's just give this to Miku and make her a little bit happier. Alright, and I did want to add this little segment here. As you can see here, we have is the Medicom Reaction Heroes Miku. And if you guys know, on my channel, I did unbox 11 years ago Hatsune Miku and Future Stars Project DIVA on my channel. Before I focused on unboxings, I did do that. As you can see here, it did come with this little figurine with a little chibi Miku. And I actually, as you can see here, still own that. I did drop this, and I did break the hair clip, so I do feel horrible for that. But as you can see here, that figurine I still actually own. I still own the game as well, but I think I have it with the put away with the other stuff I have. But yeah, so seeing this next to this real action hero, it makes me a little nostalgic, especially how this game was back in the day. I just wanted to add this little segment because I did have this Miku here, and I did want to show you guys that it's been 11 years since I had that, and having this side by side is quite nostalgic. So yeah, so that's gonna be it for everything of the Hatsune Miku. So there's not really much else I can show you. Alright guys, so that's gonna be the end of this one. So that was Medicom Toy's Real Action Heroes 1/6 scale articulated figure of the character Hatsune Miku, based on her look from the Hatsune Miku Project DIVA F line. All in all, I gotta say is I actually really do like the way this figurine looks. It actually captures Hatsune Miku, like just Hatsune Miku. It looks really great, and I love the way you can actually pose this and move it around. And I do like the accessory of the piano, and the piano's quite detailed as well. The only thing I don't like is I feel like it should have gave it a little bit more expressions, or maybe something a little bit different, but it's still great nonetheless. And I do like the way her boots are not leather or anything like that, because it keeps it from getting any damages, knowing Medicom Reaction Heroes. Besides the frills on her shirt, which I feel like could deteriorate, so if you do get the figurine, be careful with that. There's actually another version of Hatsune Miku from the same Medicom Reaction line. I think it's called Hatsune Miku Honey Whip. I'll put a picture up here, which it does come with a little bit more facial expressions, and I think you could change her outfit, which is actually also pretty cute, where you could change her outfit, which kind of makes it more of a doll rather than an action hero or an action figure. But if you have not, I think Hatsune Miku is well known. Doesn't matter what you're into, I think you might have seen or heard of Hatsune Miku. She's such a staple in the anime sphere, if that makes sense, and either gaming sphere, that you are gonna run across Hatsune Miku. There's actually a lot of great music with Hatsune Miku, but if you notice in the background, I think I kept it more into the game's music. But you could explore a lot of other stuff in the media. So I don't want to keep dragging this video too long, so if you are a fan of Hatsune Miku, what do you think of the Medicom Reaction Heroes figurine? Because I know there's a lot of other figurines. So what do you guys think of this figurine? I actually like this, but what do you guys think? So I'll leave you guys off with the figurine rotating in 360. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
すぐに